with hard work, dedication, commitment. And that is how he was able to remove Saku, whatever they call it, I'm not sure. A remarkable victory. But I guess it was easy. Because she is known as, she's the poster child, full of fluff, little substance. And now she was given the portfolio of Ministry of Labor. She has been a resounding failure. Since independence, this government must be the most unpopular one in terms of a relationship with the trade unions in Barbados. It was always felt that governments tried to work, not necessarily always agreeing, but tried to do so in harmony as far as possible with the trade unions. But this Minister of Labor has problems with the NUPW. She has problems with the Barbados Workers Union. She has problems with the Barbados Secondary Teachers of Union. She has problems with BUT. She has problems with the board of NAS. I believe she has problems with even herself. And that is why the people of St. George South must this time send an even more resounding message to Suku. She has changed her husband. She has changed her hairstyle. And it is time that you all and Dwight ensure that she changes her job forever. I give you Dwight Sutherland. Yeah. Come, Dwight. We know you can do it. Oh, yeah.
Good night. Good night to the good people of Charo, Bears and Lower State. Good night to the good people of St. George North. Good night to the Barbados Labour Party family. And then from the UPP and Solutions who are here, good night to you too. But a special good night, even special good night to my people of St. George South. I love winner. I love winner. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is a very special occasion for me. I know winner love me. This is the first meeting, mass meeting in St. George on behalf of my colleague and friend, Glenn Clark. And I want to say to you to stand firm. I want to say to you tonight, we are in good hands. The Barbados Labour Party is in good hands in St. George, both in the north and in the south. But we ain't just in good hands, fly by night like that. There are two reasons that we are in good hands. And I speak on behalf of Glenn tonight. He doesn't mind. We are in good hands for two reasons. First, we are in good hands because of this team that is down front here, and I want you all to come closer. When I started my political journey, as some would say sojourn, my learned friend Jerome would say, these people down front, and some more who are in the houses at home and at work, they started this journey with me. They're presenting themselves to the people of St. George as volunteers to rescue the people of St. George. They're presenting themselves to me to keep me abreast of what is happening in the constituency of St. George South. and they presented themselves to me. For example, like yesterday, when I was at the press conference, and I want you to give the Barbados Labour Party a hand for yesterday's press conference. Mayor Amor Motley and Dale Marshall, you listen to it? Man, two brilliant minds in the party. We have a lot. We can talk about them later. They presented themselves to me. So when I was called to sit in the press conference, and then I was called after to spend some time in a meeting, and after that to pick up my son from lessons. I'm a father and I love to spend time with my son. And thereafter, I was called to go to St. John on a mission, because we are on a mission in St. John. These people down front here were in the constituency of St. George South on my behalf in Workman's walking the length and breadth Elliott Road, Jordans, and I want you to give them a warm round of applause. My point to you, the people here tonight, I cannot do it by myself. And we're in good hands tonight because of this team here, and I love you. And that is from the heart, and I want you to keep working on behalf of the people of St. George South. Because when you keep working on behalf of the people of St. George South, you will keep Dwight Sutherland in the House of Parliament. And you will make sure that Dwight Sutherland is part of that, remains part of that great team that will rescue Barbados. So I love you. And that is the first reason why St. George is in good hands. The second reason why St. George is in good hands, Glenn and I, is because of something called representation. And I heard the chairman alluded to it. Not just representation, you know, because I can get to the nitty-gritty tonight. I ain't good with timing. Keep me posted when I have 15 more minutes, Mr. Chairman. Because this thing about representation and homegrown representation, because this is representation from the heart, this is genuine representation. And St. George is in good hands because of sincere and genuine representation. Because we represent the people of St. George from our heart. We are homegrown community members of parliament. We are homegrown, but homegrown is not all. You must have a heart for representation. And Glenn Clark and I, we have two hearts that are above and beyond question. Because when we walk and when we decide to commit ourselves to the task of representation, we do it from our heart. So you are in good hands, and I want you to hold firm as a result of this team and because of good representation. And these people here, I want to speak to you tonight on representation. I want you to stay with me for the next 27 minutes. Yes, Cynthia, you only go on 3 minutes? I would like an hour because I have a lot to talk about. But I want you to stay with me for the next 27 or 28 minutes as I speak to you on representation. Because we went into the community, the constituency of St. George South, this team and I, and we did our work. We recognized what the issues were, and we set about on a journey to address a number of issues in the constituency. And I always hear self-praise and a praise, but I can spend some time tonight to talk about what we have done in St. George South, because it is not just about me, you know. I keep talking about these people down front who have volunteered themselves and their services to make sure that St. George South receive good representation. And we started some programs. And we started these programs as far back as that big nomination that we had at St. George Secondary School. You remember that? And I praise Dr. Beverly Lashley tonight. I know she's in here because we had two candidates, myself and Beverly Lashley, who could represent the Barbados Labour Party on any stage. But I won. But we did not let that divide us. She was my Sunday school teacher, her and her husband. Yes, Sainty, she did a wonderful job. I stayed close to the cloth because I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. I know the Bible. Thank you, Beverly and Jefferson, for spending time with me. I need some water. Now, we started out on a journey. The first thing we did, we recognized that we needed to engage in programs whereby parents recognized that their children had an opportunity for development and to bring some relief to the parents who were struggling. The first thing we did, notice I saying we, not I. Thank you. The first thing we did was to turn the constituency office into a resource center. And what that did for us, we started legal aid clinics, volunteer work by some of the lawyers. Of course, one was my wife. So you had free legal aid. So instead of going downtown to Arthur Holder, my friend, and Dale Marshall and George Mayer, my friends, you had free consultation that you would have otherwise paid $200 for. The first consultation is about $250. But what it did for you, it gave you hope. Because you had some people who had challenges with the land. They didn't know where to turn. So we started the legal aid clinics. We still carry them on. I have some young lawyers who shall remain nameless today because I don't want to put them into any precarious situation because I know who they work for. They work for some dangerous dens. But they love St. George, and I ain't going to call the name here. So legal aid started. We recognize also that we had some parents who were less fortunate and who could not afford to buy stationery, who could not afford computers, who could not pay a Lime or whoever for internet services. So we had free internet. And we had free printing at the office. And we opened the office for extra hours so the children, when they come from school, they can come to the office and print the material free. They can surf the internet. Some nights I sit down there and drop sleep. And these young people in there copying and talking to me and asking me how to become. One young boy, I remember him. He wants to know how to become a parliamentary representative. He was 8 years then, but I watching him because he's watching me, and I got to make sure, Sainty, he joined us. You know how old he is now. He's over 12. So these are the things that we did to ensure that our young people had opportunity, and the parents were motivated to send them to school to know that when they come home, there's an office, and not just a political office, but a resource center that they can benefit from. And I want to thank you. That's not all we did. We started a reading club, and Sandy Field, Kelman, raise your hand, man. Volunteered her services every Saturday morning for 3 hours. Sometimes she used to want to beat me to where I had to get out of the way, because she ain't easy. When she starts to talk, you got to run. And those young children, and she can tell you about the challenges they had with reading, and some of them were able then to read better as a result of us at the constituency office. We didn't finish. We ain't finished there. We went into the schools prior to the common entrance. You see this thing about giving people 1, 2, 3? We learned about 1, 2, 3 last night. Corned beef, macaroni, and potato. So we hear last night that if you want to cook a 1, 2, 3, you got to say we cooking a Mara. We cooking a Mara Thompson. We learned that last night. So anytime you want to cook a 1, 2, 3, you cooking a Mara Thompson. Because that's what she offered the people of St. John. But we can get back there Thursday night. Don't worry. And I up there, so when I come to hear me. So we recognize from early that these were some of the things that we had to do within the constituency to ensure. We started a spelling bee competition among the schools. And I am not a selfish man. I embrace my colleague and my mentor, one of my mentors, one of the best representatives in Barbados, Glenn Clark. I embrace his schools. So we started a spelling bee competition for the 5 schools. I only have 2 schools in St. George South, Allerton Primary, and St. Luke's Brighton Primary. But I went as far as Blackman and Gollop, Santia, St. Michael Southeast. I went as far as St. Jude's, St. George North, and I went as far as St. George Primary and Workman, even though some of you believe Workman Primary is in St. George South, is in St. George North. But the reasons Because we recognize we have a number of people who go to school from St. George South as well at these schools. And we started a spelling bee competition. Last year, Glenn Clark, St. George Primary won. I want you to give St. George Primary, St. George North a warm round of applause. Followed by Blackman and Gallup, St. Michael Southeast. I sound like a selfish man. And my people down front here, I see them volunteer their services to make sure that that event, and Dr. Barry Lashley was in charge, large and in charge. We ain't selfish, this is a team. And we did what we had to do on behalf of the schools. I go into the schools, do motivational talks. I don't wait until the end to carry them to Miss Ram Place to eat chicken and whatnot. I make sure before they go to the common entrance, they are dealt with, they are motivated, and you can speak to the parents who are here this afternoon. They can tell you. Those are some of the things that I do. But I want to get off of that. I can mention two other things because I have a lot to talk about tonight. How much time I got on, Jerome? About 10 minutes? About 10 minutes. I ain't good with time. Let my wife tell you. We started a self-help program called Operations Response, whereby we went around St. George South because we recognized that people needed help. So I gathered together some of the artisans, people who can do plumbing, people who have bobcats, electrician, and we went around and we did work on behalf of people. We literally did massive cleanup in St. George. Up to last week, my good friend Alicia Dean, who will come on stage shortly, because I'm talking about good representation, her and I were in Herman Clark Road, cleaning up Herman Clark Road. We had a problem at Ellerton Primary. The Ministry of Education, like they're doing at Blackman and Gallup, taking long to address the issue. I gathered together my people, the team called Operations Response. Cecil Rimple, Avian Clark, my old man, Luther Sutherland. He don't like me calling him old man, sorry, Dad. The mature man, Luther Sutherland. Ronald Lashley. Let me see if I say any. Dwight Downs, Puka. And the ladies cook the food. And we cleaned up Ellerton Primary. We have adopted St. Luke's Brighton Primary Park, and we clean that on a regular basis to ensure that those children have a place, a recreation place, so they can play. Those are the things we do. And as Nelson Mandela said, sports has the potential to unite this world. I started programs, sporting programs. The Rondell Pollard Memorial Football, when I speak about it, tears come to my eye. I started it before I became the MP. A young man who was among the cohorts who went into the BDF, Barbados Defense Force program as a young footballer from Ellerton, came through the system, and he died in the line of duty at Carrollton. Colonel Bostick around? I remember Colonel Bostick, not an MP then, hustled to St. George to his parents to bring the bad news. The colonel, a good man, saying, the people from the city, you have a good man. And the colonel brought the bad news. But we said, you know what? This young man was an excellent footballer, destined for greatness. And we started a tournament on his behalf. The Rondell Pollard Memorial Football Tournament is in its 6th year now at Ellerton, under the lights. No violence, no shootings. We provide the opportunity for small businesses to benefit. And as Nelson Mandela said, sports has the potential to unite the world. It has united St. George South and St. George North. A wonderful initiative. And then they called me the karaoke man, pon talk. You see the 9.2 million going back and she back on, I didn't lie. They called me the karaoke man because I started entertainment around the shops. The loser, whom I could call the nanny goat, and I will tell you why I call she the nanny goat just now, who is against me in St. George South, walking around telling people that I only buy rum. And she insinuated that I pay people, the guys who smoke the marijuana, that I pay them to vote for me. She insulted the people of St. George South, who will deal with her whenever John King rings that bell. You can imagine that? And we started that tournament. And we have, coming out of that tournament, I'm sorry he wasn't here tonight, but you will see him. He was 16 years then, a young man by the name of Shaquille Ben, who is now playing for Barbados. Who's now playing for Barbados. So when I go around St. George South with my karaoke, I provide entertainment for the people because they don't have anything, and we come out and we meet one another. And they learn a lot about me, because some of them who didn't meet me would have said, but he ain't saying nothing. But when they met me, they realized that this is what St. George wanted every saints. Every saints. And we provided opportunity for the businesses to make money. And we paid the karaoke men. That's all we did as a team. And some of these people here helped me pay the karaoke men. That's why I bigging up this team. So that is what I did. Some of the things that I did as an MP. But we are into representation. And I'm ready now to talk about that nanny goat. Because at the end of the day, she said to the people recently at Ellerton Primary, they went in my backyard. If you breathe too hard from the primary school, the pigs will keep noise. I am next door to the primary school, and the pig pen is closest to the primary school. It smells good though. We don't dirty the place. My dad is a clean man. And they went in my backyard to insult me. And she said that I have never won anything with her before. This is recently, within the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks at Ellerton Primary. You can imagine the 2013 election just passed, and I cut she up, and she can go in a primary school to tell people I have never won anything with her yet. This woman is disillusioned. She's disillusioned. That's why I call her a nanny goat. Because after we defeated her, this team and I defeated her in 2013, she picked up herself and she ran. You know what she said? Is Mark Williams in the house tonight? He keep reminding me. You know what she said? My heart is in Africa. Mark down there. She said to Mark, and Mark, God bless you. Raise your hand. Let me see you. Mark Williams is in the house. He reminds me all the time. She said on the night of her defeat by us, she said, you know, pretty words, but no substance. Oh, I think my heart is in Africa, and I have to go to Africa. That nanny goat. And she picked up herself after that election, and she packed up her office. She closed down her office. She shut down her office. But I can tell when she still owe the people rent, you know. She still owe the people rent, you know. I can deal with she just now. She still owe the people rent. Even when she was I took over the office, she heard that the office that Louis Tull was in was successful. And she went up there. That's where I am right now. But it is not about the office being successful. It is about the man in the office. It's about the man in the office. So when you want to come behind Sir Louis Tull and talk about the office was successful, who gave St. George South yeoman service and who mentored me. Because if you recall, in his last election, he said at Ellerton Corner, I have good people like Dwight Sutherland who's waiting there and coming behind. He always said that. And she went up there, and when she left there, you know, she's paid a ministerial salary because she won. She left owing the landlord. And she came down 2 houses from the primary school where I grew up. We went to school together, primary school, man, her and I. And I told her I was coming to defeat her. I told her so. I told her so. When I can't see the expression down there. And she packed up her things and ran and still owe the people there by the bread shop. Whoever owned the bread shop, I ain't calling the boy name, she still owe them. You could imagine a deceitful woman with a ministerial salary being paid by government, and she's leaving the constituency office and then fully paid up her bills. And I'm talking to you about compassion, caring, and commitment to the people. She said that the people begging she too much and they need to get up and look for work. Rather go find the work in St. Lucia, not in Barbados on the front end short. But I want to say something to you. Alicia, come on stage with me. I have 10 more minutes. Come on stage, Alicia. I want you to give this young lady a warm round of applause. We clean up Herman Clark Road this week. Alicia was the personal assistant for that nanny goat. And Alicia was terminated on the 23rd of December 2011. I asked Alicia why she was terminated. Alicia said she ain't know, but I tell Alicia the only way I can find somebody is have to trouble my wife. But I know Alicia ain't troubling the body, because Alicia told me about certain things that we shall not disclose on this political platform because we're keeping our campaign above board. True. Above board. She fired Alicia on the 23rd of December 2011. You could imagine firing somebody 2 days before Christmas? And then come at the lady mother, had the audacity to show up at the lady mother with a ham? She did that! How insincere! How insincere! But Alicia, once I had a job at a company, my first job, when I stopped teaching at Harrison College, I went into engineering. And my first job, I saved the company millions of dollars and they gave me a ham too. But I felt it way cross border hall when it was coming across the road. I threw it in the can. And when I went to mommy said, I'm glad you threw it because if it went here, they can throw it here too. That's the type of mother that I got. I get unfair too. But don't worry. She fired Alicia on the 23rd of December 2011. She was on sick leave when she was fired. True. You know? But that and all. You know the green paper you get to go for your unemployment? You know what Alicia has to do to get she green paper? Anybody know? Alicia had to go to the nation in May 2012. 6 months she kept the girl green paper. That criminal, and I call she a bastard. That's all I could call she. Bandit. She's a bandit. She kept the young girl's green paper so she could not get any unemployment. For 6 months, Alicia had to resort to the nation to put it in the paper for them to pass on the girl's paper. 6 months of sufferation, this young lady. We grew up together. Give her a warm round of applause. She is now a card carrier member of the Barbados Labour Party, and I signed the form. I was the proposer. I don't care when I said she's a D. I know her, and the political leader, the next Prime Minister of Barbados, seconded it. So, we are not averse to women. We embrace women. But when you're wicked and you're deceitful, we have women in this party. Cynthia Ford, a woman of honor. A woman of honor. Give her a clap, man. Thank you, Alicia. I can say some more about you. We have Marsha Cattle, a fine man. Marsha Cattle, man. We have the warrior, my neighbor, Cynthia Bradshaw, man. We have the doctor who got Michael Lassie peeping over his shoulder. And we got Sandra Husbands who got Donville telling enough lies. He telling real lies, trying to assert himself. But I call it a demon. So we are not anti-women. We deal with women of substance. Not like that nanny goat in St. George South. And I make no apology for calling her a nanny goat. When you touch these people here, you touch me from the heart. Because my representation is from the heart. But that and all, you know, Alicia had 5 days to go to gratuity. You know they ain't get the gratuity up to now. I want to cry when I speak about this. You can imagine Frondell Short refused to give Alicia her gratuity. You can imagine that. And that is what is up against me. That's what come begging the people of St. George for another chance. Another chance to self-destruct again. Another chance to unfair you. One against you, another chance? Tell me if one against you, another chance? I can't hear winner. Who wanna what? Who wanna what? Who wanna what? Dwight want one or two. My mommy and daddy probably never stand up so long yet. Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you. And my son, where he is, he booked the place. Oh, my Lord. He will report. Now, I spoke about compassion and commitment, but I want to speak about competence in my last few minutes. Because this same nanny goat, she is the Minister of Labor. She got moved from Youth, Family, and Sports by David Thompson. I don't know why he moved her, but she was moved. And I ain't getting into that. She came now, somebody said she ain't on there, but family and that, one could say one wants and saying that, I ain't getting into that. She came into labor since the 1940s, when this great party was associated with the formation of the trade union movement. We have never seen labor treated so badly in this country up until now. The most anti-labor government that Barbados has ever seen is the Democratic Labour Party. Anti-labor agenda they have is industrial relations, chaos, and mayhem as a result of this Democratic Labour Party. And it occurred under her watch. She destroyed the social partnership that the private sector and the unions and the government had pride in and they boasted about. Started by the Democratic Labour Party, she destroyed it. That woman, the Employment Rights Tribunal, a board resigned as a result of her. And she's still there. She won't resign. She knows why she won't resign. And walking, begging the people of St. George for another chance. Want to give she another chance? Want to give she another chance? Giving her another chance is giving who another chance? The Dems another chance. Want to give for another chance? Ring the bell, John King, ring the bell. And that is what she did. When Frondel Shore on the 27th of October 2011, they did a mass canvass of St. George South and St. George North, a joint mass canvass. Dwight, you didn't own the shop then. My namesake, my good friend owns that shop now, Jamun Bar. Good day and spend some money. Have some fun. He's a good boy. He and his father, they support me, the entire family. They had a joint mass canvass there on the 27th of October 2011. And Frondel Short, the reason why he called him a nanny goat, you can hear right now. Frondel Short stood up and said, you know how he got his left hand? He called some words I can't call. It's simple. And play a toe and we will not send home anybody. Vote for us, because if we send home people, and he got his left hand going on, if we send home people, this will be a destruction to the people of sin. And we cannot do that. If that is the Barbados Labour Party's agenda, let them go ahead with it. They go ahead with it. We cannot do that. And he called two other big words. And I see the two nanny goat. The Billy goat was on the left, Jack the Inch, and the nanny goat was on the right doing solar. That's why he called them Billy goat left and nanny goat right. Next thing he said, yeah. Everything he said, pure lies. And when he won, what he did was the first thing he did. What's the first thing he did? What the first thing he did? Send home who? More than 3,000. But I want the people of St. George to recognize Glenn Clark sent a number of people from St. George North and St. George South to national housing. He sent home all of the people that Glenn Clark sent in there. Raise your hand if you get sent home. They got some people out there who get sent home. That ain't all he did. Look, my woman there, Audrey Harris, I love you. Where you, Kalika? These are the people that made me, man. I love winner. That ain't all he did. Check NCC. Kate from Todd's. Miss Eiffel from Fan Road. St. Ford people from St. Thomas. You know what they did? It was a mass casualty on the people of St. George, because rural Barbados is represented by the Barbados Labour Party and we won all the seats. So it was a mass destruction, and she presided over it, that nanny goat. and Jack the Inks could not say anything. Not a word in English, and sit down 5 years in the Senate and has done nothing on behalf of the people of St. George. That's my time. But I want to say to you, it's my time. I have a lot more to say. There'll be many more meetings in St. George. There'll be many more meetings. But I want to say to you in closing, they won in 2008. We will use the cricketing analogy. You, the people, were batting on a wicket that the Barbados Labour Party told you would have been a rough wicket. But you weathered the storm between the start of play and lunch. And then you came back post-lunch session and you weathered the storm in these rough times. That's why we tell you to hold firm. It is now after tea, Dad. My dad was a batsman, went 12 for Barbados. It is now after tea, and the ball is 70-something over zone. And close of play will soon be here. And on the end of the day's play, the Barbados Labour Party, we will take the field. And we will take the field with the team of the times. And I know Mayor Amor Morley will have on that team the present representative for St. George North and the representative of St. George South, yours truly. And we will rescue Barbados. I love you. God bless you. And keep your faith in the Barbados Labour Party. Stand firm. Good night and God bless.